Yo, what's up? Bob here. Welcome to the Bob Bradley YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about virtuoso organist Jimmy Smith. He recently had one of his landmark records reissued on the Acoustic Sounds Verve series. These are audiophile jazz reissues, if you didn't know. And it's absolutely fantastic. I've been listening to it all weekend, picked it up on Friday. It's incredible. That said, I thought we would go a little deeper, just as a brief introduction to Root Down. If you collect jazz records and you've been digging in the crates looking for these records, chances are you're going to find some Jimmy Smith. Very common, organ jazz, kind of, I wouldn't say looked down on, but it's poo-pooed a little bit by a lot of jazz collectors. He's not a tenor. He doesn't play trumpet. He's on the organ. It's, it's a taste that some people don't have. That said, records like this, Jimmy Smith's Open House, original price 99 cents. This is in the shrink, clean as a pin. I found this probably between $15 and $20. Let's see the lineup on this. Blue Mitchell on trumpet, Jackie McLean on alto sax, Ike Quebec on the tenor, Jimmy Smith on the organ, Quentin Warren on guitar, and Donald Bailey on the drums. An absolute lineup of killers. And once you get turned on to Jimmy, you're going to find that most record stores have vast selections of Jimmy Smith records, especially on Verve. That said, there are Jimmy Smith titles that are impossible to find clean because they were well loved. Like this one, Jimmy Smith's The Sermon. Yeah, this is quite possibly his best date on Blue Note. Who's on this? Yeah, Lee Morgan, Lou Donaldson, George Coleman, Tina Brooks, Kenny Burrell, Eddie McFadden, Art Blakey, and Donald Bailey. It's a banger. It's a beast of a record. And yes, near impossible to find a nice, super clean copy. Come on, Blue Note, where are you at? One of the records that Jimmy did that is quite possibly his greatest date was done in 1972. And it is so hard to find a clean copy of this record. Jimmy Smith Live, Root Down, just reissued on the Verve Acoustic Sounds series of records. I don't know what it's called anymore. But when I tell you that the execution on this thing is flawless, I'm not kidding. We all know the deal. Tip-on cover, perfect mastering, perfect pressing. It's insane. Now, if you've been listening to the Beastie Boys, Ill Communication for years, like I have, which features a song called Root Down that relies heavily on samples from the tune Root Down, you will realize right away that they used a needle drop on a record that was quite noisy. Now, it adds to the vibe of the Beastie Boys version of Root Down. But when you hear this Verve pressing right here, it will be a revelation because it's so clear and beautiful. And one of the things about this record that is so stunning is that it's super fresh and it sounds incredibly modern. All of the techniques and the general vibe of the record are all things that modern musicians are still doing today. Where if you listen to something like this, a record that Jimmy did very early on, it's fantastic. It's great. The playing is phenomenal, but it has a sound that is tied to the time. I would dare say somewhat dated. It's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. Let's take a look at the back. Yeah. We're going to go over this a little bit. We've got Jimmy over here on the organ. Yes. Paul Humphrey is on the drums. You may know Paul Humphrey from his playing on the Lawrence Welk Show. I think he was on there for 7 years. Lawrence Welk, this is a digression, I'm sorry. I know, talk about dated, right? But if you want to see golden age instruments, guitars and basses and things in pristine condition from the Fender and Gibson company, watch Lawrence Welk. It'll blow your mind. Anyway. Yeah, Paul Humphrey played drums on Black Cow like a beast. He's back there. Wynton Felder on the very early P bass. Incredibly funky bass player. This record proves it. He is ruling on this session. Who do we got over here on guitar? We have Arthur Adams over here. Looks he's in the shadows. It looks like he's playing Black Les Paul Custom on here. He's known as a 335 man, but on this particular day, in this photo, he's on a Black Les Paul Custom. We got a conga player here. Looks like we got Buck Clark on congas, Steve Williams on harp. Now this record features these tunes: Sag Shooting His Arrow, For Everyone Under the Sun, and a little bluesy number called After Hours. Side 2, Root Down and Get It. The Reverend Al Green's Let's Stay Together, and Slow Down Sag. This was a short and ultra funky affair. Arthur Adams making good use of early wah-wah. That's this thing. You put your foot on it, goes wow, 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 wow. This one is a 1969 Crybaby. The one I use on all my records. It sounds fantastic. I'm sure Arthur was using something very similar to that on Root Down. This is an incredible record from top to bottom. Quite possibly Jimmy Smith's ultimate funky record. They're all in top form. Jimmy is a true virtuoso and absolutely burning at all times on the organ. Drawbars just wide open, foot on the volume pedal. He's going for it in all of the solos. Absolutely killing. You can't go wrong with this. Clearly these tapes were in excellent condition and stored perfectly. A really nice original copy of this is $80 to $100. This one is about 38 bucks. I do still have hopes and dreams of getting an OG one day. One with that yellow on the label. But until then, this one is incredible. A true audiophile record. Insanely quiet. Really open sounding. The bass on this just sounds nasty as hell. It is just a badass record. Let's take a look at the inside. Pictures of Jimmy in here. Really great. Fantastic record. One of the records I've been hunting for years and finally got it. Bam. Yeah. 38 bucks. Acoustic Sounds Verve series. You need that. Till we meet again. Bob out.